Hi, welcome. I'm Priscilla Batzell. This is Expressionist Fluid Art Studio Gallery's demonstrations and tutorials. Let's have some fun. So I tend to love 12 by 12 inch canvases because they're easy to work with, and I've got a funnel, canning funnel, which is a lot the same as an open cup. If it didn't have a wide open top, it would still be an open cup. So I'm going to use some medium black in my corners and along my edges. Just so I have some coverage in case I want to leave negative space there. Because I don't know how this is going to go. I'm going to use an edge catcher, which is, in my case, a sheet of acetate, but it could be a piece of cardboard in my opinion. I'll worry about my edges later, because once you use an edge catcher you wind up having some paint covering the edge anyway. I love funnel pours. I don't do them often because I like to manipulate my art quite a bit, and a funnel pour doesn't necessarily require that. It's very accidental. It can definitely be a form of doing a pearl pour if you're using white enamel or black enamel or whatever kind of enamel you want. I don't want to waste any of the paint on my spatula, so I'm spending way too long covering my edges. But I'm going to throw that right in the bucket because it's my new one, and I am going to use some white metallic as a puddle base. It's a dazzling white from Art Deco. I got a deal. I bought like 10 bottles when I had a 35% off total purchase at Michael's. I thought it was a really good idea, and I still do. What else do I want in there? I want more of that. I could have made it looser with adding more Floetrol. My black and my white I mix with Floetrol and GAC 800. It's different than the colors that I use for blooms. I'm going to do some Deco-art Americana 24 karat gold around the edges. At least one. That looks like it could have some more Floetrol added to it pretty easily. I'm going to also put that in the mix. And I'm going to use a little bit of the Anita's black metallic, which I have not found a replacement for yet because they don't make Anita's anymore. But I expect it's out there. Not a problem. I really want more paint. Really, really, really. If I use too much paint, I can't put very much in my funnel. But if I don't use enough paint in my pillow around the funnel, then I can't spread the paint I put in the funnel. I'm going to start with Periwinkle, which is coming out kind of funny. And I'm going to use a little vivid intense white in between at least one layer. And I just laid my hands on Perfect Indigo. I'm going to kind of follow my instincts. I've got Nebula Star, which is a primary element. Perfect Indigo was a Prizm pour. Periwinkle is a vivid intense fluorescent. I've also got, what is it? Blue Flame. And Red Violet. Pretty much consistently the star of my show. I'm going to put some white metallic in there. I better be careful. I'm going to get too full. I'm going to use the white metallic near the Rhapsody Rose because it will dry dark unless it has a white background. And to that I'm going to add my version of Saffron, which was Ginger Snap with some Holly Berry and some Master's Touch Red Orange. Now I'm going to use the gold to squirt down into to mix the colors. This is Royal Sapphire. Kind of wanted some black in there. Maybe I'll still do that. Let's do the gold and see how I feel about it. There's the gold. I'm nervous about the black. Maybe I'll just do a little. It's a less is more moment, maybe. Now the only thing I'm concerned that I didn't do was to add something that's of a lighter color. And I mixed up some new tangerine, which is just yellow and orange. And now it's time. I want to blow into that. I never do that, and I'm going to do it now. And now I want some purple. Maybe I'll just use a little bit more red violet. Although I kind of like it to be darker. But I'm going to lift slowly. Maintaining the integrity of the seal between the bottom of the canning funnel. I don't know, metallics may not work doing this. I seem to recall something in my past. Maybe I shouldn't have used them. And I am going to grab a small Princeton Art Tool Catalyst spatula. And dribble freely before adding my funnel right into the bucket. And then we'll see what we get. Because I really never know. I did grab an edge catcher. And I did leave my edges available from holding on to. Let's not worry about that yet. It looks kind of boring so far, which leads me to think I may wind up swiping. I'm sure it won't be the first time that that's happened. I really wish I'd used a lot more turquoise, but things change. You have to sort of wait and see what you're going to get. I'm going to at least cover the white spaces, and I have enough paint for that. I was afraid I was going to have too much paint, and that's not looking like it's the case. Now the reason I like the edge catcher is because once you stop the paint from flowing, it hits the edge catcher and makes a pool, and it sort of seals itself up. And the more paint you put in that puddle, the more paint you have to throw back into the canvas. And at that point, you can use the same spot of paint that you just did. Only in this case I'm not sure, because I kind of like that pattern that looks like it might be annihilated if I tip that way. Well, I got to do it a little bit, so hopefully I'll get to keep that purple. I'd like to. Try and return the paint to center. It's really looking like it's going to be a swipe to me. Sometimes, if it's not going well, I'll add a bunch of black, and I'm really considering doing that right now. But where? may ever see this. The Mead and Black will sell, I know. I do like experimenting. And I could add another color if I wanted to. And I'm certainly contemplating using a palette knife or something else with some cell activator at this point. Because if it turns out to be something other than it is right at the moment, that would be nice. Because I'm not in love with it. But like I said, that can change in a heartbeat. I like what the black is doing, at least over here. I need to change this up so at least, I don't know, at least what? I'm not sure. Oh, I like that a lot better already. I'll just keep using the edge catcher. You could leave it down, but then you wouldn't have the availability of the puddle. And if I lift it up briefly, move it up, then I can get more of that paint to go down to the corner that's blank. And I can still squeeze it back on. Right before I decide to bring it over. It's definitely not a typical composition. Once you get it level, then you can tip it down so you can move that area of paint. Come on, release. I really want the other side to have some paint on it. And of course I've got plenty of paint left on my edge catcher to cover miscellaneous missing areas. And I'm happy to say I'm not hating it anymore. I'm happy to have a thumb hole left. Black paint on my wrist. I have to be careful now because I had some things that I really liked. I especially like this area here. And I kind of like that, which will go away if I do what I'm attempting to do right now. It's best if you have your hand behind. I'm going to wind up with some paint on my hands. It's not it's a messy process. How about that? You can certainly, I see that thing that does not belong in there. You can certainly move that edge catcher up. That did not really come off. Helps if there's nothing on the tweezers, and there is something on the tweezers. Let go thing. There we go. Well, I like it a lot better than I did. And I even like the black negative space I still have left, which is not going to be that hard to cover the edges with black in those areas. So I'm glad I did that. Paint's still wet, in fact. I kind of wonder if I should pour this off down here. But I'm more inclined by far to tip it a little more. I'm going to have to put my edge catcher back. Even if I don't use it as an edge catcher, I'm going to still have to let some paint fall off onto it. It's very agate-y. got a few cells in the black. A lot of times I'll use the paint that comes off on the edge catcher, but I'm not sure about this time. But I'll let you know in a minute. It's pretty, surprisingly so. I like that. I'm going to steal some more of this black, cover my fingerprint. Alright, I've got small acetate tools. I desire to use one. If I can find one that's fully functional. I want something other than, I want the turquoise I was craving. I'm just going to put some directly onto my palette, dip my little tool in, and hopefully yeah, we got some cells now. It makes me want to use the dancing fuchsia. A little might go a long way. Still want to use the dancing fuchsia. I think I will. I could use black. Black would be sort of magnificent. Cells are popping. There's a lot of gold in there. I didn't realize that's what I'm looking at. It's tan. I think I'm going to have to blow into that to get those cells to pop. I want some black. I still want some black. I'm going to have to wipe my tool off. I've got no seconds left. That kind of helps create a new focal point. Well, I hope you didn't miss much. I'm not sure when the camera shut off, so I'm sorry about that. I want a little bit more. I actually want to blow on it, but I'm going to try and swipe it anyway. Still craving some white. And I have a little, still craving everything actually. A much smaller acetate tool would be good also. Let's see if I can do a small amount and be very delicate. I kind of like that. I got some nice little cells. There's got to be one more place of white. Almost have the balance I want. I might be using cell activator just as a color at this point. I'm still going to try and blow on it though. I like it with the work I put in at least as much as I did before, and I wasn't sure I was going to like it at all, and I like it a lot. I have a little tiny paintball on the end of my acetate tool. If you ever need a link for this, there's an entire instructional video. I'm going to torch really quickly and call it good. Except for that one spot. Which I like a lot better now. I'm not sure it's going to stay that way. There are some really great patterns in there, and I don't hate the colors at all. I like them. They're unusual, they're agate-y, they're organic looking. And I definitely love it instead of hate it. It reminds me of the inside of some kind of cave. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the compliments that keep my morale boosted. Thank you for the donations that help keep me painting. Please give me a thumbs up. Thank you for sharing my videos. I really appreciate you guys being here. If you watch longer or watch some of the commercials or make a comment, those things are all super helpful to me. My creative playlists are on my YouTube channel. And if you go to my YouTube channel banner, you'll find the PayPal icon. Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter links on my link tree. My community board will show you tomorrow's videos. If you have questions or you want the paint pouring recipe, ask me questions. It will. The paint pouring recipe is below Show More. When you click Show More, you're going to find my email address. Thank you for everything. Shop my Amazon link, please. You can buy anything you want from there. And my 2 books are there, Because I Can and Unlimited Possibilities, Volumes 1 and 2. Thank you again for being here. I love you guys dearly. You inspire the heck out of me. Bye for now. Priscilla out.